Arkadiza. Can you imagine a serial killer who was never caught and whose cryptic messages left investigators baffled for decades? Picture this. The late 1960s and early 1970s in the San Francisco Bay Area, a time of peace, love, and music, overshadowed by an ominous presence. This was the era of the Zodiac, an unidentified murderer whose reign of terror sent shockwaves through the community. As if the heinous acts weren't enough, the Zodiac elevated his game of cat and mouse by sending chilling letters and ciphers to local newspapers, daring them to unmask his true identity. These cryptic messages, seemingly innocent lines of text, were actually complex codes that confounded even the most brilliant minds. His taunts became infamous, adding a layer of psychological torment to his physical crimes. Welcome to the chilling tale of the Zodiac Killer, a story that still haunts investigators to this day. Our story begins in the late 1960s, a time of peace and love, but also a time of fear and terror. In the heart of the summer of 1968, the first known Zodiac killings took place. A young couple, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were out on their first date. They were enjoying the solitude of a lover's lane in Vallejo, California, when their lives were abruptly and brutally cut short. Faraday was shot once, Jensen 5 times. Their bodies were found, lifeless, in the cold grip of a December night. The killer's modus operandi was chillingly unique. He targeted young couples, often in secluded areas, using a gun or a knife as his weapon of choice. He then took a perverse delight in contacting the police, taunting them with his crimes and leaving a trail of cryptic messages and ciphers hinting at his identity. The initial police investigation was fraught with frustration. Despite their best efforts, they were always one step behind the elusive killer. The evidence was there, the bullet casings, the bloody footprints, the chilling phone calls, but the man himself remained a phantom, always just out of reach. Meanwhile, the public's fear grew with each passing day. The headlines screamed of a serial killer on the loose, of a man who called himself Zodiac. The name, derived from a symbol he used in his letters, was as enigmatic as the man himself. It spoke of a killer who was not just a murderer, but someone who reveled in the power of fear and terror. Parents warned their children to stay indoors. Young couples were afraid to venture out after dark. The streets, once filled with laughter and joy, now echoed with the whispers of dread. The peace and love of the 60s were shattered, replaced with a palpable sense of fear that hung heavy in the air. Little did anyone know, this was only the beginning of the Zodiac's reign of terror. In the midst of the panic, a series of cryptic letters began to arrive at local newspapers, claiming responsibility for the murders. These weren't just simple admissions of guilt. No, they were intricately coded messages, a labyrinth of symbols and hidden meanings, a chilling signature of the man who came to be known as the Zodiac Killer. Each letter was a puzzle, a riddle wrapped in an enigma. They contained strings of symbols, some resembling ancient runes, others more akin to modern-day hieroglyphics. These were the Zodiac's ciphers, his own private language, a testament to his twisted genius. In these letters, the Zodiac made demands, threats, and chilling prophecies. He taunted the police, reveling in the chaos he had unleashed. He spoke of a list of victims that would grow, a reign of terror that would not end. His words were as cryptic as his ciphers, filled with double meanings and veiled threats. Yet, despite the best efforts of investigators and codebreakers, many of these messages remain undeciphered to this day. Some have been partially decoded, revealing the Zodiac's chilling worldview. "I like killing people because it is so much fun," one deciphered message read. A stark glimpse into the mind of a monster, but for every cipher cracked, others remained. The Zodiac's most infamous cipher, the 340-character one, was only recently decoded, more than 4 decades after it was sent. Yet, Even this breakthrough left many questions unanswered and many codes still to be broken. These letters were not just the Zodiac's calling card, but also his challenge to the world. A challenge that said, "Catch me if you can." They were his way of extending his reign of terror, of continuing to haunt the collective consciousness long after his murders had ceased. These messages, shrouded in mystery, only added to the public's fear and fascination. They remain a testament to the enigma that is the Zodiac Killer, a grim reminder of a reign of terror that has yet to be fully understood. As the 1970s dawned, the Zodiac's activity began to wane, but his legacy was far from over. The later years of the Zodiac case saw a decrease in the killer's activity, yet the investigations and theories about the killer's identity continued to swirl. Law enforcement and amateur sleuths alike tirelessly worked to decipher the Zodiac's cryptic messages, each hoping to be the one to unmask the infamous killer. As time passed, the Zodiac Killer's impact reached far beyond the realm of crime. His legacy seeped into popular culture, inspiring films, books, and countless internet theories, serving as a chilling reminder of the terror he once instilled. The Zodiac's cryptic messages and the mystery surrounding his identity continue to captivate minds worldwide, turning the man into an enigma, a specter of the past that still haunts the present. And so, the Zodiac Killer, whose identity remains unknown, slipped away, leaving behind a chilling legacy of mystery